Well, hello and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff. The dude there who uses whiteout on his head, that's Mike.
You're so jealous. You're just so jealous.
And the grinning fool up in the corner there, that's Paul. How you guys doing?
Great.
Very well. Great, Jeff. How are you?
Good. Welcome back to the show, Paul. You've been missing in action. We are your hosts. We are boomers who live to excoriate all the other generations who had the bad luck to be born after us. Please remember to subscribe. All you have to do is press that red button down there in the corner, and even if you're some kind of imbecile, you can figure that out, so get busy. I'm going to start right out with my first rant. I'm about to show a picture of one of the four original Beatles. His name is Ringo Starr. You guys notice anything funny about the picture?
Yeah, he's not even recognizable.
Wait, not recognizable. He's just turned 85, and his hair is jet black, and his beard is jet black. What the?
Yeah, stupid.
Bunch of BS that is. That's baloney.
I'll never go that way.
Have the yeah. Can you see one of the three of us come on here all of a sudden with jet black hair?
Well, you couldn't because there's nothing to dye.
There's nothing to dtie on your head.
You'd
look like the 8 ball in a pool game if you did it.
Your forehead would be black.
Forehead would be black. At least I have some hair here to put color. All right, and if Ringo wasn't bad enough, check this fool out. See him there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Rod Stewart.
I like Rod Stewart, even Maggie May and all everything, but act your age too. You've got orange-colored hair. Like
you know you're pretty near the bottom of your career when you're on the cover of ARP magazine.
Yeah, that's sad.
On the cover, literally, I'll show you it again. The cover here. If you read the headline that's to his right of his face, it says, "Hold on to your teeth." 14 rules to smile about.
Yeah, and are elevated toilets really the answer? Yeah, come on. Get a different publication.
All right. For my second rant is, Paul, you might have missed some of this, but Mike and I spent the last 3 weeks ripping on Mel Owens.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you don't know who he is, I'm going to recap. He was chosen. This guy's name is Mel Owens. He's from Michigan, went to the University of Michigan, played football collegiately, then played for the Rams professionally. Then he became a lawyer, moved out to California, got divorced. Well, he was chosen. He's 66, and he was chosen to be the new Golden Bachelor. That's going to begin sometime later this year. And, and for all intents and purposes, he's perfect. Handsome guy, successful. Divorced, but who cares? But then he goes on to a podcast a couple of weeks ago and makes a complete idiot of himself. He starts making demands, or he starts telling the podcaster about the demands he made to the ABC producers, meaning what he will or won't accept. As
this always works out well.
Yeah, right. Trying to tell. Also, he just comes off like entitled and stupid. He, for example, he said that the only ones he'd pick had to be between 45 years old and 60 years old. Now, if he's 66 and he only go out with a 45-year-old, that's 21 years difference, and that's the same kind of bull crap mistake that's made by who, Mike?
Mr. Belichick.
Mr. Bill Belichick, who's the only other fool our age to start going around with women that are so much younger than him. Well, anyways, Mike and I said there's going to be a backlash, and I'm going to show you a video here in a second, right, from a woman on TikTok, and here's what she had to say.
Mel says they can't have artificial hips and wigs. He wants them to be fit, as if an artificial hip and wig means you're not fit. That's very interesting. I wonder if hair extensions or hair color are okay. What about breast implants and tummy tucks and facelifts? Those are all artificial too.
He doesn't want women to wear wigs. He doesn't want women who have bad hips, and they've got to be in shape.
Yeah.
Good luck.
But how about fake boobs? I'll bet he'd go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the nice thing about this is this is going to give us material for the next few months.
Oh, yeah.
Every show he's going to make a dick out of himself more than he already has.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. He is, originally Mike and we were talking that he may get fired from the show, but having worked in television my whole career and been responsible to get ratings and revenue, I know what I would do, and that is I would keep him on the show, because if nothing else, this will give everybody a reason to tune in and hate him. All right, my final rant is this past weekend, I let my wife persuade me to go to a movie theater. And
wow.
What a disaster. What a disaster. Here's the things that pissed me off in the order. First of all, you get there and it's expensive, and the food was expensive and everything. We got popcorn and some drinks. But what really pissed me off is there was at least 25 minutes of advertisements. And I'm not talking about trailers where you see new movies coming out. These were regular, like on TV advertisements.
Yeah.
For soda pops, for all kinds of stuff. Just one after another, after another, after another. What are you doing with that camera, Paul? You've got epilepsy or something. What is that called?
Sorry.
He's shaking over there.
Sorry.
Shaking. You're distracting people from looking at this. That's all you're doing.
The dogs are running around bumping the phone.
Dog.
To see them.
They're so happy to finally see their owner again, who was gone for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not ever going to the movies again, so this is my last one. I saw Tom Cruise in that, I forget what it's called. It's the last Mission Impossible movie he's going to ever make.
Was the theater full, though? Was it full? Or
about half full.
Okay.
You know what it wasn't, though? It wasn't the fancy one that Mike's goes to, where you recline and you have somebody giving you a mani-pedi and you drink wine during the movie. This wasn't that. This was sort of...
Yeah, well, there's your problem. You go to these little neighborhood shithole theaters where they make you sweep up after yourself when you leave. Come on.
All right. Anyway, so no more movies. So here's a quick. I'm into scams now again. A woman on Quorum. Quorum is kind of like Reddit, where people it's mass sourced sort of a web place. This woman wrote, "I've been contacted by an oil rig worker from the Gulf of Mexico. He needs money for transportation to and from his rig. Mike, is that a scam or not?"
Oh my God.
I wish I had a giant blinking red light I could...
I wrote back to this woman. I never answer people on any of these places.
What, does she hang out with oil rig workers?
Yeah, well. Oh, here's one for you, Paul. And this is honestly, I just copied this from Quorum. A woman wrote in and said, "Johnny Depp just contacted me. He needs money because he's broke from legal expenses. Should I send him money, Paul?"
Oh my gosh. No, and no.
This next one I'm going to tell you about it's pretty, but at least there's good news about this one. This is about a bust. So, United States federal authorities arrested this dude in Canada. His name is Gareth West. I'm showing you his picture now. He looks as creepy as you would expect. He was the leader of a network of grandparent scammers. He defrauded $30 million from American seniors. So he's a Canadian, lives up there in Toronto, and he had these call centers. And here's how the scam worked. Mike, pretend that you're a stupid older senior and that you get this phone call. Yeah. I guess it won't take much pretending, but try to pretend. Ring, ring. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Is this Mike?
Yes.
Mike, this is Bill, your nephew.
Hi, Billy. How are you?
Yeah, it's here, Mom and Dad. Well, listen, Mike. I just got arrested. I just had a car crash. They've thrown me in jail. I need money for bail, and I can't reach Mom and Dad. I don't know where they're at. But I need. And I know this sounds crazy, but if you hold on a second, I'm going to have my attorney. He's going to get on and explain stuff to you. So anyway, it goes on. Not only does an attorney get on, but later on, a guy who runs like a bail bondsman gets on, and pretty soon. Mike here, or Grandpa, starts saying, "Well, how much do you need?" and starts sending money all over the place.
God. Well, this is the one. Remember a few months ago, this actually happened to our friends. We were at dinner one night, and she got the same phone call. And I told her, I said, Deb, it's a scam.
Yeah.
And your son's not in jail in Maine.
Yeah.
I said, where did you think he was last? She said, he's in Mexico on vacation.
Yeah.
I said, good, call him.
Yeah. So they got this guy, but Mike, tell them, all of our seniors, including the one sitting next to you there, Paul, what do you do so you don't get ripped off?
It's what you don't do, folks. Don't answer your phone. Don't go to the door. Don't believe it's a UPS guy just because he's wearing a brown shirt. Don't do anything. Stay in your room, have food slid under your door on a tray, and you'll be a happy person.
Yeah, really. I mean, we've talked about this before too, where if somebody gets on the line with you, if you accept a call and you're not sure, hang up. And certainly if they say, we got to get off, not talk this way, we got to get onto a WhatsApp,
you're screwed because then your family's cut off.
Yeah, because
no
they
one
cut you off from your family.
Can help you, yeah.
All right, here's another scam, and I know that this one killed me too, because so 160 people paid a company called Nyx, N-Y-X, or Nyx, they paid $3,500 a piece to put their loved ones' human remains, ashes, into this Nyx-owned rocket, and it was going to go up into space, and it was going to be ejected out there, and your significant other or your family member would then be send their ashes all over the world. And guess what happened?
The rocket crashed.
The rocket didn't make it up to space. It turned around and came down and crashed into the ocean. So all the space people, all this company could say was, after apologizing for, oh, by the way, you know what else was on the cargo? Cannabis. Why are they sending cannabis in space?
Well, there's high and then there's higher.
Yeah, but I mean, for real, why would you put here's a pound of cannabis, send it up into space?
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I didn't understand what they were doing. Anyways, the company responsible for the spacecraft said this, quote unquote, partial success should serve as an important learning opportunity for future reusable space flight missions. Well, here is another learning opportunity for you, NIX. You're going to get the crap suit out of you.
Yeah.
That would be your learning opportunity, sending up stuff into space and then crashing into the ocean. If that had been my mom's remains, I'd be pissed.
Well, yeah. It sounds like Elon Musk's rationalization when his rockets keep blowing up. No, it's a trial. It's a trial run. It's okay.
The only one that didn't blow up. Oh no, that wasn't his. I was going to say was that one he sent up those women, and that was Bezos's rocket.
Yeah, that was Jeff.
Oh, those rich people in their rockets.
Jeff, I love Venice. Bezos.
People, if you subscribe, and enough of you subscribe, and Mike and I and Paul make enough money, we'll buy a rocket and we'll invite you up to space with us.
And we'll be waving at you from the ground because there won't be any way in hell we're getting on it.
I'm not getting on anything with you two. All right. The annual Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest was held last Friday at the 4th of July celebration back east in Coney Island, New York. And Joey Chestnut, who Mike and we talked about this last year on July 4th.
Yeah.
He entered his, I don't even know how many times he's entered, 20 times he's entered the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. And guess how many hot dogs Joey Chestnut consumed?
Something like 70.
70 and a half. The last one only went down halfway. You got 70 and a half buns. With the buns, by the way. Hot dogs and buns.
Yeah.
And guess how long it took him to eat 70.5 hot dogs and buns?
I have no idea.
All right, I'll tell you. 10 minutes.
No way.
Now do the math, guys. That's 7 hot dogs and buns every minute.
No. It's like they take a breath, they gulp down. It's just awful. It's just awful. Jesus.
Yeah, and the buns are soaked in water. They're just dripping with water, yeah.
How much stomach would you have to have? You'd have to have a huge stomach to hold 70 hot dogs in it.
I don't want to be around a couple days later.
A couple of days, a couple hours later, you sit down on first class on Delta to fly from Coney Island back to L.A., and you're sitting next to Joey Chestnut. You're in trouble.
You're screwed.
He's going to be getting up and down a lot. All right, and then a woman there, the Miki Sudo, got her 11th title in the women's competition. She ate 33 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. So 3.3 dogs per minute.
Yeah, I couldn't eat three dogs in half an hour.
No, my wife doesn't even like hot dogs. I can't even enter her in that contest.
Well, yeah, no, she's too to start thinking about what's in them. You're not going to eat.
I'm not eating those. Those things aren't good for you. Well, 70 of anything is not good for you, no matter what they're made out of. All right, so check out this Costco hot dog. Thing was big enough. The two people are carrying it over their shoulders. It's like 6 foot long.
Yeah.
And, I would say next year, just hand one of those to Joey Chestnut and say, "Here, go for it, buddy."
Yeah. Yeah. You got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Work your way through that. Oh, man. Now on to our bonehead and Gen Zers. Back to talking about them. You guys know what an offline boyfriend is? Well, an offline boyfriend is someone who doesn't use social media or barely does. No Instagram stories. He's never downloaded TikTok. Quite literally, he's never heard of the app Be Real. By the way, I've quite literally never heard of the app Be Real. In a world that practically demands you document every oat milk latte, the offline boyfriend is refreshingly absent.
I have such an offline boyfriend. He just said, "What's FYP?" He doesn't know what an FYP is. My Shayla.
Now, I would just have said to this person who wrote this, if you could have saved yourself the trouble. If you want some offline boyfriends, just find a guy who's over 55 or 60 years old. They'll all be offline. Mike and Paul and I are building an island, and we're only going to let certain people on there. One of the rules is going to be you can't get online. That's
No
the first
device.
rule.
Yeah, no device.
It won't be. When you won't be able to be scammed, you'll be running around, living free, talking to people, picking up people at bars, like by talking, and not, not by using your phone to meet somebody. And you'll find that the men, like Mike, Paul, and I, are rugged individualists. We're impressive, and we're not all over the internet.
Exactly.
So that's a lesson for you all. All right, Paul, European highlights. I can't imagine why in hell you went to 2 concerts there by train, and who Kylie Minogue is, but you went there too.
Back in the 90s, it was like she was the big Australian artist, and still performing at like 55, 56, I think she was. She celebrated her birthday that night, too. And then Train's from up in my neck of the woods up in Seattle, and they've been all over the world, and they have a loyal following, young, old, and everything in between. So when you move me, everything is groovy. They don't like it, the European trip was great. It was all on Eurail. We did 7 traveling days in a 30-day month. Got all around Switzerland, Italy, France, and back to England again on the Channel.
Did you know you can travel from London to Paris for a tunnel that goes under the sea? So tell me, would you travel under the sea?
Went to that meat emporium.
Oh my God! It is a 7-course serving of steak, and it just did not stop. Steak and Chianti the whole time, with a baked potato and a serving of lard.
That place with all that meathead.
You're like the Joey Chestnut of Europe. Yeah.
You were the Joey Chestnut of steak
Steak.
that day. Man, you must have been a pleasure to be around after that.
I have such an offline boyfriend. He just said, "What's FYP?" He doesn't know what an FYP is. My Shayla.
All right. That's great. Good. Brad, welcome back. All right. Now on to our bonehead and Gen Zers. Back to talking about them. You guys know what an offline boyfriend is? Well, an offline boyfriend is someone who doesn't use social media or barely does. No Instagram stories. He's never downloaded TikTok. Quite literally, he's never heard of the app Be Real. By the way, I've quite literally never heard of the app Be Real. I would just have said to this person who wrote this, if you don't, you could have saved yourself the trouble. If you want some offline boyfriends, just find a guy who's over 55 or 60 years old. They'll all be offline. Mike and Paul and I are building an island, and we're only going to let certain people on there. And one of the rules is going to be you can't get online. That's the
No
first
device.
rule.
Yeah, no device.
It won't be when he won't be able to be scammed. You'll be running around, living free, talking to people, picking up people at bars like by talking and not, not by using your phone to meet somebody. And you'll find that the men like Mike, Paul, and I are rugged individualists. We're impressive, and we're not all over the internet. That's why our wives will never leave us, because we're the ultimate male, want to haves.
That's right. That's why we're nearing 1,500 subscribers, and people are getting more and more interested all the time. Who are these guys?
All right, so this is another one from the Gen Z or this was a Gen Xer who was bitching about her millennial parents. The millennial parent actually posted a picture of a refrigerator that they keep in the garage. And then the garage refrigerator, they keep extra sodas, for example. Yeah. And maybe some other stuff that they just don't feel they have room for in their main refrigerator inside the house. And so this teen took a picture of it and then posted it and said, garage drink fridges are such a millennial flex. Flex generally means to show off or brag about something often in a boastful or exaggerated way, meaning it's something also that they didn't necessarily need. If you want to buy anything and save money, you buy it bulk, and then you need a place to put it at home, so you have an extra fridge in the garage. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, well, when we grow up and you become an adult and everything isn't handed to you, when you run out of something at home when you're 15 or 16, it just miraculously appears that there's another one. Guess where it came from, dumbass? The fridge in the garage.
Yeah, that's right. They think it just appears because they don't know where things come from, but it actually there's a rhyme and reason behind it, and good thinking and financial, smarts to be able to know how to go and get extra food around the house.
Jeff, I got mine from our neighbor Rick.
Yeah. He's actually talked about it about 40 times since I've met Rick. He said, yeah, we sold that refrigerator to Mike. It's a big deal for him to unload that refrigerator on you, I guess.
Yeah, and it's still working like a charm. We had two big chest-type freezers on the ranch because we got to town once every month to get whatever we needed.
That's where you kept all your venison.
Venison and trout and beef and pork, everything you generate yourself on the ranch. It was a great way to live. And that's why my hair looks like this. Well, that's why my hair looks like this.
There's no hair there. We can't even see anything.
Look at that. It's just perfectly done.
Oh, man. All right, here's news flash. Somebody comes out of their house in Raleigh, North Carolina, and there in their driveway is a missing wing flap from a Delta Airlines jet. How does that happen?
Honey, what's in the driveway?
Yeah. When I was a kid in Ohio, I lived about 50 miles east of Cleveland, so we were probably on the flight path of planes that were leaving Cleveland going east towards, say, New York. And one day in the backyard of our house, I'm walking out there, and I found a paper, vomit bag that said the name of the airlines on it, American Airlines vomit bag in the backyard. So somehow, some way, somebody tossed out or somehow jettisoned a bag with somebody puked on it and landed on our yard. Otherwise, how could it have gotten there?
Your neighbor was pissed off. He just threw the bag over the fence.
There was no fence. There was no neighbors like that. They wouldn't have been smart enough to do it or have a bag that said American Airlines. This is rural backwoods Ohio. It was just out there.
There used to be a time in the beginning of jet aviation in the 60s and into the 70s that blue ice was the thing that fell off planes, and you'd get smacked somewhere. Sometimes it would go through people's roofs, and it was basically the output of the toilet on the aircraft that fell through your roof.
They should still do that. That would be funny. Just release it, and then those guys bombs away. All right. There's a cat-tastrophe for you who like cats, like Paul does. Here we go. Woman is arrested for having over 100 cats inside of a U-Haul in a Southern California parking lot. Jeannie Maxon is her name. So here's a picture of the U-Haul with the cats poking out. There's up the back. They open up the back of the U-Haul. Look at all those cats in there.
Yeah,
They're everywhere. It's kind of cruel too. It wasn't like she was doing it because she was saving these cats. The cats, half of them were in, as they were in distress.
Yeah. She's the one in distress. She should be locked up forever.
Well, they did lock her up, actually.
Yeah.
They shouldn't lock people. They should do what's called poetic justice. They got to put her in that U-Haul with that truck.
With
those cats.
With the cats. Yeah.
All right. As much as I'm loath to say this, Mike, it's time for Vaya con Dios.
This is important. This is important stuff. Dun, dun, dun. Drum roll. This is going to test some of your sports knowledge here. So first at bat is Ed Fiore.
Who?
Ed Fiore, 72 years old.
Who was he?
He's the only player who ever came from behind a 54-hole deficit to beat Tiger Woods in a golf tournament.
Next.
How about them bananas?
Yeah.
Next, this one's for you. Bobby Jenks, 44, died of cancer, two-time All-Star closer, World Series champs with the White Sox.
Bobby Jenks.
Bobby Jenks.
No, I never heard of him.
And here's another one. This will fuzz your already fuzzy temple. Alex Del Vecchio.
Right, who's Alex Del Vecchio?
Was a Hockey Hall of Fame, won the Stanley Cup 3 times with the Detroit Red Wings. Yeah.
The level of obscurity has this. You're hitting new lows every week. Yeah, this is one of your better ones.
It's
Nobody
that look
knows who
of
these people
puzzlement
are.
on your face.
I read that somebody famous died this week. I'm going to have to do research.
Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen.
Actor. One of the best, creepiest actors, creepy character actors in the business.
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill. 67 years old, he was found dead in his Malibu home, and the authorities say he died of natural causes.
That surprises me, given as much stuff as he was into.
Yeah. Okay, and then finally, from Obscurata Unlimited, Joe Giordano, 84 years old, credited with being the physician who saved Ronald Reagan's life after the assassination attempt.
Anyone else? Is that
That's it?
Good, thank God. Time of the show, do a little Florida Man reporting. This guy named Harrison Lee allegedly broke into a woman's home in Destin, Florida. Got in there. He went into the master bath, went in and took a shower. And that's it. There was no other point to this story other than the fool breaks into a house and takes a shower while the owner of the house is in the other room.
No, didn't he fix a meal for himself or something too?
No, that was the dude who didn't want to go home because his wife was pissed
His wife
at him.
was upset with him, yeah.
So instead of going home, he broke into a house and he set up housekeeping in it because he knew the people weren't there. All right, Florida Man number 2. Florida guy was arrested for keeping alligators in his backyard swimming pool.
Oh, good. Well, that's one way to keep the neighbor kids away.
And then that leads me into this story about it's not Florida though, it's in South Kakalaki where you're from, Paul. This is the Jurassic Park alligator of all time. Just look at his. It's so big that it's carrying like a 6-foot other alligator in its mouth.
Yeah. Snack time.
Can you imagine seeing that? I don't get how does that thing grow so big and nobody's ever realized, seen it before.
No, they probably have. They get the hell out of there.
Run the other way. Yeah, he would run the other way. That thing could eat you in half a second. Could eat one of that big hot dogs from Costco. That thing is so big. Eat 70 Joey Chestnuts.
Chestnut.
All right, and finally, a medical clinic in Scotland is asking local residents to stop bringing in inappropriate or unsolicited urine samples.
What?
Evidently, they put out there that they would do free testing for some whatever. I think it was for urinary tract infections. And then so people just in this village just start showing up and giving them their urine samples. But the clinic is saying, no, you got to come in, you got to make an appointment, you got to put your urine into a real sterile vial, and so it can be properly handled. Instead,
Solo
people were
cups.
coming in there with milk bottles and
Solo cups, yeah.
solo cups. And I'm going to show you guys right now. I'm all prepared. Here's my little cup right there, all ready to go.
Too much information.
Go in there and get a free. Find out if I have a urinary tract infection. It's always good to know. All right, everybody, please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike and Paul will come over to your house and hold an impromptu hot dog eating contest in your backyard. If you don't have hot dogs for them to contest, then they'll eat anything you have around the house, like fish sticks or meatloaf.
We'll go to the fridge in your garage and forage for things, yeah.
And they'll do it for free.
Yeah.
All right, or you can send us an email to oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We love hearing your comments, and not only that, you can ask any advice you want because we give it out for free. I forgot to list the comments again this week, but maybe I'll put some down and below us as we're talking. And you can call us now. You can call us. One of the three of us is always on duty at 1-310-800-1830. You'll get one of us in person, and you'll get our advice directly from the source.
Jeff may sound like somebody from India, but that's okay. It's still Jeff.
Yeah, it's still me. I have a little Indian accent. Don't worry about it. By the way, I called my doctor the other day to get a doctor's appointment out here in the small town where we live, and they had outsourced their scheduling to India.
Get the hell out of here.
I am not kidding you. I got this guy
Really?
from New Delhi or something asking me questions, like personal doctor questions, to set up this appointment. I go, what is going on? People nowadays. All right. And check out our Substack, 52task.substack.com. Last week it was all about the 4th of July, and this week, I don't know. Oh, hang on. Before we go, I had one more thing I got to talk about. Hang on. Hold everything. Stop the presses. Where the hell is it? Stop the presses is right now. Where's my mattress? Read here. There's a reason that Mike looks so dour every day and his hair looks funky. It's because he sleeps on a bad mattress. If you have mattress issues, go to brooklynbedding.com. They're having a flash sale. That's right. I said a flash sale that's starting tomorrow on July 11th and the 12th, Friday and Saturday. Just use the code FLASH30, FLASH30, and you get 30% off the site, everything on the site. One more time, that's tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, the 11th and 12th of July. You go to brooklynbedding.com, you write in there FLASH30 before you check out, and you'll get 30% off of everything site-wide. All right, gentlemen, now it's time for our man Reese, the old goof, Reese himself, with the old people quote of the week. But other than that, we'll see you next week. Remember, stay straight, don't answer the phone. And if you need to get lessons on how not to cut your hair, get in touch with Mike.
Yeah, call me. Day or night, I'll show you a video on how to do this.
All right, bye, guys.
Adios.
Here's the Old People This Week quote of the week. What are you people, on dope? Mr. Hand, history teacher, Ridgemont High.